Hello, friend. A bear stands before you, its dark eyes reflecting curiosity, caution, or something more menacing. These majestic predators command respect, and in their presence, the line between observer and intruder blurs. One wrong move, and the balance of power shifts perilously. Come to today's video to see how scary they are. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss the latest videos. Story 1. Kuznetsovka, a remote Siberian village surrounded by ancient pine forests, had always been a place of quiet coexistence between humans and the wild. The villagers were accustomed to the presence of wolves, elk, and even the occasional grizzly bear. To them, these creatures were not threats, but part of the land they shared. Life in Kuznetsovka revolved around its small school, a modest wooden building with peeling paint, and a playground of rusting swings and a splintering wooden fort. For the 50 children who attended, it was both a place of learning and a sanctuary of laughter. It was here that Igor Petrov, a mischievous 10-year-old, often led his classmates in games. His younger sister Alina idolized him, always tagging along despite his teasing. Their father Sergei worked as a logger, spending weeks at a time deep in the forest. He had often warned Igor and Alina to respect the woods and its creatures, recounting stories of bears that wandered too close to human settlements. But such tales seemed like myths to the children, who viewed the forest as their extended playground. The morning of October 29th, 2024, was unusually warm, a rare reprieve before the brutal Siberian winter descended. The schoolyard was alive with the chatter of children playing during their recess. Teachers stood in small groups, sharing news and laughing softly. In the distance, however, something stirred. A massive grizzly bear, driven by hunger and desperation, emerged from the dense forest. Its ribs were visible beneath its shaggy fur, and its movements were erratic. The bear had likely failed to find enough food to sustain it through the impending hibernation season. As human settlements encroached deeper into its territory, it had grown bold, crossing boundaries that once kept wildlife and villagers separate. The bear paused at the edge of the schoolyard, its black eyes scanning the bustling scene. The smell of food sandwiches and apples, packed by parents, lingered in the air, drawing the bear closer. At first, no one noticed the bear as it approached the rusted chain-link fence that separated the schoolyard from the forest. But when it reared onto its hind legs and let out a guttural roar, the laughter stopped. Panic erupted as the bear charged. The fence collapsed under its weight, and children scattered, their screams piercing the air. Teachers shouted for everyone to get inside, their voices trembling with urgency. Igor, caught in the middle of the chaos, froze. His instincts failed him, and the bear's massive paw struck him before he could move. Alina, just a few meters away, screamed as she saw her brother collapse. Blood stained the ground where Igor lay, motionless. The bear turned its attention to the fleeing children. Little Mikhail, who had tripped in his haste to escape, became the bear's next target. A teacher tried to shield him, but was shoved aside by the bear's sheer force. The bear's jaws clamped down, silencing the boy's cries. Inside the school, teachers and children barricaded themselves in classrooms, stacking desks and chairs against doors. Windows were shut tightly, but they did little to block out the horrifying sounds of the bear's rampage outside. Word of the attack spread quickly through the village. Pavel Ivanov, a seasoned hunter, was among the first to respond. he grabbed his rifle and rallied other villagers to join him. Together, they approached the school cautiously, their weapons at the ready. The sight that greeted them was one they would never forget. The bear was tearing apart the wooden play structure, its powerful jaws snapping planks like twigs. Pavel steadied his rifle, his hands trembling. He knew he had only one chance to bring the bear down. With 2 deafening shots, the beast collapsed, its massive body heaving one final breath before it lay still. The villagers gathered at the school as the hunters confirmed the bear was dead. Parents wept openly as they searched for their children, praying they were safe. Sergei Petrov arrived shortly after, his face pale as he learned of Igor's fate. He clutched Alina tightly, his tears mingling with hers. Authorities arrived hours later, their response delayed by the village's remote location. They surveyed the scene, taking photographs and collecting evidence. Wildlife experts speculated the bear's behavior was the result of starvation, its desperation driving it to attack humans. The schoolyard, once a place of joy, became a somber sight of mourning. Flowers and candles were placed near the makeshift memorials for the children who had lost their lives. The bear's carcass was removed, but its presence lingered in the hearts of the villagers. The tragedy forced Kuznetsov to confront the fragile balance between human settlements and wildlife. Sergei, speaking at a community meeting, urged the village to take measures to prevent future attacks. He proposed building stronger fences and establishing better communication with regional authorities. Wildlife experts suggested the attack was a symptom of larger environmental issues. Climate change, habitat loss, and human encroachment on wilderness areas were pushing animals like the grizzly to the brink. They called for greater efforts to protect these ecosystems, emphasizing that such tragedies could be avoided with better planning and conservation. For Alina, the loss of her brother marked the end of her carefree childhood. She often visited the memorial, leaving small gifts, pine cones, flowers, or drawings in honor of Igor. As she grew older, she became an advocate for wildlife conservation, determined to ensure that no other family would endure what hers had. Today, a bronze plaque stands in the schoolyard, engraved with the names of the children who lost their lives that day. It serves as a reminder of the delicate balance between humanity and nature, a balance that must be respected to prevent further tragedies. The story of Kuznetsovka is a testament to both the power of nature and the resilience of the human spirit. Though the villagers carry the scars of that fateful day, they also hold a deep respect for the wilderness that surrounds them, vowing to live in harmony with it while safeguarding their future. Story 2. Life has a way of confronting us with unexpected challenges, moments where survival hinges on sheer will, resourcefulness, and courage. For Angela Harper, a 34-year-old woman from Montana who weighed over 400 pounds, one such moment came on a fateful autumn day. On a solo hiking trip in Glacier National Park, Angela found herself face to face with a grizzly bear in a remote, unforgiving wilderness. What followed was not just a fight for her life, but a testament to resilience, human spirit, and the raw unpredictability of nature. This is Angela's story, a tale of survival that reveals not only the dangers of underestimating nature, but also the strength within us all, no matter our size or circumstances. Angela Harper had always loved the outdoors. Born and raised in Kalispell, Montana, She grew up surrounded by towering mountains, pristine lakes, and miles of untouched wilderness. Despite her weight, Angela never let her size define her. She knew she wasn't the fastest hiker, nor the most agile, but she prided herself on her determination and love for nature. By her mid-30s, Angela had embarked on a personal journey toward better health. She had started hiking regularly to build her stamina, often choosing trails in Glacier National Park, a place she had cherished since childhood. Her favorite trail was Hidden Lake Overlook, a moderate hike with breathtaking views. On October 18, 2023, Angela set out on what was supposed to be a short, peaceful hike. The weather was crisp, the leaves painted in hues of gold and red. She packed her essentials: water, a protein bar, a first aid kit, and bear spray, a must-have for anyone venturing into Grizzly territory. But nothing could have prepared her for what was about to unfold. The trail was quiet that day, with only the occasional chirping of birds and rustling of leaves to accompany Angela as she made her way through the forest. She reveled in the solitude, feeling a sense of peace she rarely found elsewhere. About 2 miles into the hike, Angela paused to take a photograph of the mountains when she noticed movement out of the corner of her eye. She turned and froze. Less than 30 feet away stood a massive grizzly bear. Its powerful frame, golden brown fur, and sharp claws left no doubt that this was a full-grown adult, easily over 600 pounds. Angela's heart pounded as she remembered the advice drilled into every Montana resident. Don't run. Make yourself big. Speak calmly. But fear was a powerful force, and for a split second she considered fleeing. Before she could act, the bear lunged toward her with astonishing speed. The next moments were a blur. Angela tried to deploy her bear spray, but the canister slipped from her trembling hands. She stumbled backward, tripping over a tree root, and fell hard onto the ground. The bear was on her in seconds, its massive paw swiping across her leg and sending searing pain through her body. Angela screamed, a sound that seemed to echo through the forest. The grizzly roared, its breath hot and heavy. As it loomed over her, Angela's instincts took over. She kicked and pushed with all her might, her adrenaline-fueled strength surprising even herself. Despite her size, Angela's will to survive was unshakable. Pinned beneath the grizzly, Angela did everything she could to protect herself. She curled into a fetal position, covering her head and neck with her arms, a technique she had learned in her wilderness safety class. The bear's claws raked against her back, tearing through her jacket, but Angela's thick frame absorbed much of the impact. As the minutes dragged on, Angela's determination grew. She knew she couldn't outrun the bear, nor could she overpower it, but she refused to give up. Her screams and thrashing seemed to confuse the animal, and in a moment of desperation, Angela reached for a nearby rock. She struck the bear on its sensitive nose, a move that startled it enough to back away momentarily. Seizing the opportunity, Angela crawled toward her dropped bear spray. Her hands trembled as she retrieved it, but this time, she managed to aim and unleash a powerful stream of the spray directly at the bear's face. The grizzly roared in pain, shaking its head as it retreated into the trees. Angela didn't wait to see if it would return. She dragged herself toward the trail, her injured leg throbbing with each movement. Blood stained her clothes, but she kept moving, fueled by a singular focus: survival. Angela's ordeal didn't end with the bear's retreat. The remote location of the trail meant she was far from help, and her injuries made walking nearly impossible. She used her phone to call 911, but with limited service, the connection was unstable. All she could do was send a brief text with her location before her battery died. Hours passed as Angela lay on the trail, shivering in the cold. Her wounds ached, and exhaustion threatened to overtake her. But just as the sun began to set, she heard voices in the distance. A search and rescue team, alerted by her message, had arrived. The rescuers were stunned by Angela's story and her resilience. Despite her injuries, she had managed to fend off a grizzly bear and survive in the wilderness for hours. They carefully transported her to a nearby hospital, where she underwent surgery for her leg injuries and received treatment for numerous cuts and bruises. Angela's encounter with the grizzly bear left her physically scarred, but emotionally stronger. She often reflects on the experience, not with fear, but with a deep respect for the power of nature and the strength she discovered within herself. Her story serves as a reminder of the importance of preparedness and the unpredictable beauty and danger of the wild. Angela now shares her experience with others, advocating for wilderness safety and encouraging people of all shapes and sizes to embrace their love for the outdoors responsibly. Story 3. For Rachel Everett, a 208-year-old nature enthusiast from Idaho, the wild was a place of solace, adventure, and beauty. A woman of formidable presence, weighing over 350 pounds, Rachel embraced the outdoors as a sanctuary from the stresses of everyday life. Hiking trails became her escape, the rhythm of her boots on forest paths, a kind of meditation. But on one fateful day in late summer 2023, Rachel's passion for the wilderness brought her face to face with one of nature's most fearsome predators, a grizzly bear. What began as a routine hike turned into a life-or-death struggle, testing not only Rachel's physical endurance, but also her mental fortitude and survival instincts. This is her story, a gripping tale of courage, resilience, and the lessons she learned from a harrowing encounter with the raw power of the wild. Rachel Everett had always been drawn to nature. Growing up in the small town of Salmon, Idaho, she spent her childhood exploring the nearby forests and rivers, often accompanied by her father, an experienced outdoorsman. Despite her size, Rachel never let her weight deter her from enjoying the activities she loved. She believed that the wilderness didn't judge. It simply offered its beauty to anyone willing to seek it. On August 22, 2023, Rachel decided to hike a remote trail in the Sawtooth Wilderness, a place she had visited many times before. She packed her gear carefully, a sturdy backpack filled with water, snacks, a first aid kit, a multi-tool, and bear spray. Rachel was cautious by nature, always mindful of the risks associated with hiking in bear country. But nothing about that sunny morning gave her a reason to anticipate the nightmare ahead. The hike began peacefully, with the sounds of birdsong and the rustling of leaves creating a serene backdrop. Rachel moved steadily, pausing occasionally to admire the view or snap a photo of wildflowers along the trail. By midday, she had reached a clearing with a breathtaking view of the valley below. She sat down to rest, sipping water and enjoying the solitude. As Rachel prepared to continue her journey, she noticed something unusual. The forest had gone eerily quiet. The chirping of birds and the hum of insects had ceased, replaced by an unsettling stillness. A moment later, she heard the unmistakable sound of heavy footsteps, followed by a low, guttural growl. Rachel turned and saw it. A massive grizzly bear standing no more than 30 feet away. Its size was staggering. Its eyes locked onto her with a mix of curiosity and menace. Rachel's heart raced as she recalled the advice she had learned from wildlife safety guides. Stay calm. Don't run. Make yourself big and speak in a steady voice. Rachel slowly raised her arms, holding her trekking poles to appear larger, and began speaking in a calm but firm tone. "It's okay," she said, her voice trembling. "I'm not a threat. Just passing through." Ground with a powerful swipe of its paw. Pain shot through her shoulder as she struggled to shield her head and neck, curling into a defensive position. The bear's claws tore through her backpack, scattering its contents across the ground. Rachel fought back with every ounce of strength she had. She kicked at the bear's face, using her legs to push it away. In the chaos, she managed to grab her bear spray and aim it at the grizzly's eyes. The spray hissed as it created a cloud of deterrent, causing the bear to recoil and retreat several feet. But the attack wasn't over. Enraged, the bear circled back, its roars echoing through the forest. Rachel knew she had to act quickly. She spotted a large rock nearby and grabbed it, hurling it at the bear with all her might. The grizzly hesitated, clearly disoriented by the combination of the spray and Rachel's fierce resistance. The grizzly eventually retreated into the woods, leaving Rachel bloodied and shaken but alive. Her body ached from the attack, her shoulder and back bearing deep gashes. Despite the pain, Rachel's mind remained focused on survival. She retrieved her phone from the scattered contents of her backpack, but there was no signal. Rachel assessed her injuries and used her first aid kit to clean and bandage the wounds as best she could. She fashioned a makeshift sling for her injured arm using a torn piece of clothing. Knowing that staying in the area could attract the bear back, she forced herself to her feet and began the slow, grueling trek back to the trailhead. Every step was a battle. Rachel's size, once a source of insecurity, became an unexpected advantage. Her resilience and determination, honed through years of navigating the challenges of her weight, now fueled her survival. She refused to give up, even as exhaustion and pain threatened to overwhelm her. Hours later, just as darkness began to fall, Rachel stumbled onto the main trail and encountered a group of hikers. They were horrified by her condition and immediately called for help. Within an hour, a search and rescue team arrived, transporting Rachel to a nearby hospital. Rachel's encounter with the grizzly bear changed her life in profound ways. While the physical scars served as a reminder of the attack, the experience also left her with a newfound appreciation for her own strength and resilience. "I never thought of myself as particularly brave," Rachel later said in an interview. "But when you're faced with something like that, you realize what you're capable of. It's not about size or strength. It's about willpower and the desire to live." Rachel now shares her story as a motivational speaker, encouraging others to embrace their inner strength and face life's challenges head-on. She also advocates for wilderness safety, teaching others how to prepare for and respond to encounters with wildlife. If you found this video insightful, make sure to subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications for the latest videos on wildlife safety, survival tips, and fascinating animal stories. Stay safe, stay informed, and we'll see you in the next one.